recognized that there was really a need to streamline this industry. There's a lot of great marketplaces, a lot of great tools, a lot of great vendors, a lot of great a lot of great grading companies, I should say. But there wasn't a platform that really kind of tied it all together. It seemed very fragmented.
So it's hobby time and we're going international again. So as always, sorry for my English to our guest, to Dennis, and of course to you guys. But Dennis is here and will help me out if I'm lost. Dennis, what's up?
Yes, everything all right over here. I will try my best, Marcus, to bail you out again, like every week. But that's what friends are for, right? So
That's true. That's
let's do
true.
this.
Yeah, you are trained. Last week we had already you had also an interview
Yes,
with Mama Breaks. Very nice podcast it was. I
yes.
have to say. Yeah, we were ha very happy to welcome our guest. He's and maybe if I'm telling something wrong, he can correct me after that. He's the founder of CEO and CEO of MASCOT. What MASCOT is, what amazing features it has, how you as a collector and visitors of the German Cards and Collectibles show can also profit from it. We will hear in the next minutes, but first of all, welcome Ezra to our Das Hobby podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. And I will say, I'm going to commend you on your English. Your English is a heck of a lot better than my German. So I think you are doing great.
Thank you, thank you.
Any touching points with German or Germany in the past, besides Marcus, I mean?
I visited Berlin when I was a kid, so I've
Okay.
been to Germany. We actually have quite a few Germany collectors who've used Mascot. I told this to Marcus, and I'm sure we'll get into kind of our relationship. We have quite a few people who are in Germany who want to use Mascot, and we definitely want to support as much as we possibly can. Our software, at least for the first year and a half since we've been out there, has really been designed to service people in the United States. But we recognize that Germany is a fast-growing market. We definitely want to be there. And so we are hoping that our collaboration is sort of a good first step to meet some great people, to sort of have our name be out there. And then we will definitely build some added tools as we continue to go to support it better.
Yeah, great. You will hear a bit more about that, what Mascot can and is. But first of all, for all out there, our listeners, can you, they don't know you, can you short introduce yourself? What are you doing? How is your connection to the hobby?
Yeah, so my hobby background runs pretty deep. I think like a lot of people who wind up kind of sort of building a career within the hobby. I started out when I was a kid. I was a big collector. I really got into it because of my father, who's still collecting. He does everything from cards to tickets to memorabilia to photographs, you name it. He's been in the hobby for as long as I can recall, certainly for 30, 36 plus years. And when I was a kid, I grew up in the early '90s, and cards were a huge part of my life. It was sort of the first entrepreneurial thing I ever did. Really, I remember my dad would go out and buy us a box of cards, and my brother and I would take the cards that my dad got for us. We'd build a little kind of mock hobby shop within our childhood bedroom, and then we resell the cards back to my parents. It was actually the best business model in the entire world. And so, I was, I, like probably a lot of people after that, I went to college and all that. I started working in finance, and I did a couple other things within sports. And then, I got back into the industry probably about 5 years ago. And, kind of through that experience, we decided to start Mascot. And so, I guess we will, start there.
Nice. How was the idea coming up for Mascot? Well, what was the process that idea comes up in your mind?
Yeah. So, I got together with a couple fellow entrepreneurs, some of whom are, very large collectors, some of whom had actually built a similar business within a different industry in tickets. And, we recognized that there was really a need to streamline this industry. There's a lot of great marketplaces, a lot of great tools, a lot of great vendors, a lot of great a lot of great grading companies, I should say. But there wasn't a platform that really kind of tied it all together. It seemed very fragmented. It was also, seemingly a huge roadblock for all of us who ended up founding Mascot, that just creating listings seemed very laborious, very time consuming. And there
Mm.
had to be something better, right? There had to be a quicker process where if we wanted to, just either, just manage our inventory, we want a really good software to do that. But B, if we wanted to list our items for sale, we were thinking, okay, how can we maximize eyeballs, right? How can we get our listings the greatest probability and possibility of selling, right? And obviously, there's a lot of marketplaces, and a lot of marketplaces require you to really duplicate the efforts, right? You have to create the listing on their platform, and that just takes time. When an item then sells in one platform, if you're listing across multiple, you got to go back to the other platform. You have to remove it, and if you don't, it can lead to negative feedback and a really bad experience, both for the marketplace, but also for the buyer and for you, right? So we said, look, there has to be a better way to do this. So that was the original genesis of MASCOT. MASCOT, the title is actually an acronym, if you can believe it. I always give Dr. James Beckett credit for this. He and I are pretty close friends, and I told him what I was doing. And we were thinking about the name MASCOT just because we thought it was kind of cute and sporty for no other reason than that. And Dr. Beckett said, I get it, MASCOT. That's brilliant. It stands for multi-sales channel technology. And I said, it really doesn't, but I love that, so I'm going to steal it. So ever since that, it's become an acronym. MASCOT is multi-sales channel technology. But that was the original idea, really just to streamline the industry, to make the process a lot simpler, to make it a lot more efficient, to reduce a lot of unnecessary friction. And obviously, if you're a startup or if you ever built a business, the original idea, yes, you typically, kind of stay true to that, but opportunities emerge along the way that sort of create these little micro pivots and, kind of allow you to expand in various ways.
So what time frame are we talking here? So when did you come up with the idea, and where are we right now?
Yeah, so we really started. I mean, we've been working on the technology for about 2.5 years now. We didn't actually launch the business until, let's see, actually we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of our formal launch. I actually launched it. I was on the Gary Vee podcast, so we launched it formally on the Gary Vee podcast. This was probably about a year ago today. The first time most people actually interacted with it or started using it was actually at the National last year. So this is actually a really good touch point. We're about a year into our public journey of it. It's been great. We have over, I think 6,500 people who are using the software. We've done, tens of thousands of completed transactions, tons of partnerships, tons of integrations. We built, in our opinion, really innovative trade show tool software, which I'm sure we'll talk about here. And I think we have, over 100 hobby shops all across America who are relying on our software to essentially power their entire business, including Cards HQ, which is probably the most notable card shop in America with its size and the kind of following that they have. So we've really come a very far way in a year. We're really excited about where we are, but there's so much more that we're working on and that we're working towards.
I have to say also in the last year, the first time it comes up somewhere and then more often. So it have the feeling that the milestones or what the futures were goes very fast in the last year. You mentioned some now. Is it a big team behind it, or how much people are you?
What we've all sort of realized for working on MASCOT is it's not always the size of the team; it's the components of the team. And so we're blessed and lucky that we have a really formidable small team, and that actually is, I would say, kind of at the root of how fast we're able to act, right? If you're, I'm sure all of us have worked at large companies where there's kind of an overlap of skill sets, and that just really creates bureaucracy. We intentionally try to keep a very kind of flat corporate structure with as few people as possible, because that allows us to be, kind of fast and nimble. But again, all that comes down to just having the right people. So we're lucky that we have the right people. And yeah, I mean, you're right, Marcus. We're thrilled, with kind of how year one has gone. But all the success in year one has really just made it, sort of made us hungrier to, kind of build upon it. And what's really great about this community, for better or for worse, and there are definitely moments where it's a worse, but for better or worse, people are very happy to give you feedback.
Yes.
Everyone has an opinion, which is awesome. And so, we try to kind of speak to as many people as possible, really engage with our community, our users, take their feedback, their suggestions, figure out what their pain points are, and then, hopefully build something that can really solve a lot of their problems.
Yeah. You describe already some features or advantages also from MASCOT. Can you, for that don't know MASCOT before, you said now grading companies, platforms, can you describe it in very short? What exactly can I do as a user or vendor these both sides. I think that's the most part of that.
Yeah, there's actually quite a lot that you can do. So I'll try to keep this very short.
Yeah.
But I would say that the two things that we're best known for, which people are using us on a daily basis for, two things. One is inventory management. So we built really great software, not just in trading cards, for other types of collectibles too, like comics and a whole host of other categories. But really great software that allows you to very seamlessly input items that are in your collection, or if you're a business, in your inventory, and to keep it all together, really streamlined, really elegant. We partnered up with 5 of the biggest grading companies, so PSA, Beckett, SGC, CGC, and TAG, where essentially their entire database is intertwined into Mascot. So, for instance, if you have a graded card, all you need to do is put in the serial number, the cert number of that card into Mascot, and it pulls in as much data as that grading company has in the card. Oftentimes, that includes a really pretty high-res front and back image. So, right there, we're saving people a tremendous amount of time, right? You don't have to take scans of every single card. All you got to do is just copy and paste the serial number, type in a serial number, and boom, you essentially have a ready-to-go listing. So that's number one. Again, there's so much more to it, but I'm just trying to kind of really simplify it. So number one is inventory management. Number two is multi-channel listing software. What that means is we've integrated with eBay, Whatnot, TikTok Shop, Shopify, Square, and My Card Post. So what that means is, instead of having to create listings on each one of those platforms, individually, you can come to Mascot, create one listing, and blast it out to 6 different channels all at the same time. The really cool part is that not only are you getting more eyeballs equals more liquidity, but you're also saving yourself a ton of time, particularly when an item sells, because when an item sells, the listings on all of the channels come down instantaneously, automatically. So no more double sales, no more manual delistings, none of that. We think that's kind of hobby 1.0. We're really trying to build towards hobby 2.0. So through Mascot, you can manage your collection. You can manage your inventory very, very easily. And then you can get as much liquidity opportunities as possible when you go to sell an item by listing on as many platforms as possible. And you don't have to worry about any of the pain points that typically come with listing on multiple platforms.
Yeah. And this is amazing. I think that's a lot of hurt points as a collector you solved, especially what you mentioned. You make a picture, you have to write everything down. What card is it? If you have the connection to the PSA or whatever database, it's you have directly this card in that helps a lot of time. But then also I have also a shop in Shopify. I have an eBay account, so you have to do the stuff doubled, and yeah. It's amazing that you can do it with that very easy.
Yeah, and just I'm glad you brought up Shopify, because that's a huge trend that I like to think that we've kind of helped really kind of bring into the forefront. But obviously, there's something that people were doing anyway. But we're seeing a real trend towards dealers, hobby shops, you name it. Just anyone who has a following, essentially wanting their own digital storefront. People used to rely on eBay essentially for that. I think the common complaint with eBay is the fees, or are the fees. And so having your own Shopify account where you can essentially just cross-list all of your inventory from eBay into Shopify, so everything looks and feels very similar to what it does in eBay. But if you can drive traffic and complete the sale on Shopify versus eBay, every single order that you complete, you're saving a pretty decent percentage, and thus you have the ability to make more money that way. So that's something that we're proud that we've kind of stood up. Over 100 hobby shops who are using Mascot's technology to essentially run their e-commerce, but also kind of in-store experience. And as part of our service, again, there's a lot that we offer, but as part of our service is we guarantee if you come to Mascot and you don't have any Shopify storefront or a website, we can build you one. We can make you look very professional and really good with your inventory connected to Mascot, all the metadata associated with that, with a whole Shopify experience in under 1 week. So you can come to us with nothing. In 1 week, you could probably be at the top 1 to 2 percentile of people who have a real web presence in this category. So really, really exciting stuff, and that's been a huge home run for us.
Well,
that's amazing. Very, very impressive. In this short time frame. Okay. Hats off.
I need 6 months for my shop or something like that. But yeah, it's amazing.
And how do you guys collaborate then on the German card show, if I may ask? So how is the the collaboration look like?
Yeah, actually, as I said, I see a lot of things about, or read a lot of things about Mascot, and then I see they have this future about different card shows where, and last year we had the first German card show, and I have to say it's the biggest card show. It's a 2-day show in Frankfurt, and we had the also the issue or the challenge because we want to share the visitors who will be there, what they have, that they can prepare a bit for their show. And then we did a kind of Excel list last year and put it on our website where this table is, what's the name of it, what kind of sports or non-sports cards you find. And that's it. But then I see this future, what Ezra, I think, can better explain like me. It was like a perfect match for us at the show. And I asked if it's possible in Germany. I don't know if you work already international, but I asked if it's possible to use this in Germany. And yeah, we manage it now. It's still, I think, in dollars, but yeah, Ezra can explain a bit more this future.
Yeah. So so this all sort of goes back to what's at the top of the call, which is we started with a vision and a purpose and an idea, and then just kind of by having the product in the market with relationships, talking to a lot of people, we sort of uncovered this opportunity and this need that we sort of quickly met. The genesis of this idea really happened actually at the National last year. One of our partners at Mascot is a big collector, primarily a set collector. So he's looking for pretty specific pieces. And, he was at the National for 4 or 5 days. I don't know, guys, I'm not sure if you guys have been to the National. Obviously, a huge, huge show, over 125,000 people, hundreds upon hundreds of vendors and tables. And, quite honestly, the opinion of some is that it's gotten so large, it's actually kind of difficult to find things that you're looking for. And so, we have a close relationship with a show promoter. And I said, we said that there has to be a better way to do this, right? There has to be some digital tool where the vendors could upload their inventory in advance of the show, and then attendees or even people who can't attend the show but are still interested in the inventory that's available at the show, right? There has to be some digital way that people can look this stuff up, right? And so that what that allow you to do as an attendee, you could really plan your visit in advance. Some people, who are fortunate enough, like I am, we get to go to the show for 5 straight days and be there their entire time. There's plenty of time. Other people are there for a couple hours. Maybe they have a kid who's grabbing their leg the entire time, or maybe they're there for half a day or what have you, right? So there's actually not that much time that a lot of people wind up spending searching for things they're looking for. So we thought, hey, we could create a shortcut. We already have the inventory management software, right? We can build sort of an add-on feature where vendors before the show can upload their inventory to Mascot, essentially tag it with the show, and then just have their booth number as part of the tag, and then essentially Mascot could create a digital environment specific to that show where anyone could get a link to search for the inventory, find what they're looking for, find the table number. You can have links to each vendor so you can reach out to them in advance or during or after, what have you. So that was the idea, and we quickly built it. It probably took us about 2 months to really build. We launched it in December of 2023 at the Philly show, and then really kind of piggybacking off the success of the Philly show, we then did partnerships with the Burbank show, with the Dallas Card Show, with Fanatics Fest, with a whole host of other shows. Some of whom I feel badly that I'm not mentioning specifically, but with a lot of shows. And so, we had, kind of our full model, which is, we're going to be there and we're going to really, get every dealer to sign up, which works really well. And for, with how many shows kind of came at us wanting to do it, we said, hey, look, we can provide the technology to a lot of shows. We'll do that side. We'll create a beautiful branded look and feel. We'll offer the software technology to the show for free. And then the promoters of the shows really just have to get in front of their dealers. And so that model has also worked. I think we've done probably about maybe 20 to 25 shows so far, just since our launch over the last 6 months, and it's really cool. We've heard really great feedback. A lot of people have said, hey, look, I was able to find a card that I otherwise never would have known would have existed. A lot of dealers who are at these shows say, hey, I only have an hour, right, of kind of setup time where people are not at my table, where I'm not kind of stuck at my table. So this allows me to find things that I'm looking for, to kind of help build my inventory. We've had people who bought cards in Connecticut here in the States at the Burbank show who otherwise never would have been able to buy that card. So it's been, we've heard some really great success stories from it. We're excited about this. And so when Marcus reached out to me, I said, absolutely. Again, we really built the software, at least today, in the first year, to really support the US. But I said, we're definitely building towards international. If you guys are comfortable, with the currencies being in USD, the technology works beautifully. And so, I think this first one, likely just given the timing, the first one, the prices that dealers have will be in dollars. But as we continue to go, we definitely want to support other currencies, certainly going forward.
Nice. That's amazing. And it's the thing, if you have already an account and just put it on Shopify and eBay and Co., then it's just more or less one click. Yeah, I'm at that show at that table also with this card. And if this card is sold on eBay, it's gone also from these show view. So it's amazing. It's a perfect solution for everyone. Yeah, I'm very looking forward to it. We will announce it very soon also. We already introduced the vendors and then also announced and now it's announced more or less with this podcast.
Smart.
Yeah, we have it announced on our social media, of course, already. Yeah.
And to Marcus's point, yeah, I mean, if you use Mascot already for your inventory or to list, it really is as easy as pushing one button, right? You'll see it, but essentially you create like a little, kind of storefront within Mascot. You can put your logo, you can put a cover image, and then you really just check off which show you're going to. You enter your booth number, your table number for that show, and then you go back to your inventory. And if you want to put everything, it's really just a matter of literally clicking one button, add to the German card show, and it's there. And there's a link that everyone gets, a unique link where, we see people creating QR codes or, all sorts of creative things with that. And again, it's really like the name of the game for us is creating additional opportunities, removing friction, creating additional liquidity for vendors. And so this is very much within that sweet spot.
Right. I love it because also like here in Germany, the hobby doesn't have that long a history as it has in the US. So of course we missed the whole baseball card thing because baseball is not a popular sport here. So we don't have that culture, but we had like the football stickers. So Panini stickers every year. So that is our part of that. So the history is shorter here. So people are more starting since some years now, and what you guys offer is taking up so much of their time. So if you do it as a side hustle, you cannot invest that much time in it anyway. So to start it off, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we always say, and we hear this all the time. You're right. I mean, what we love to do is build software that allow more people to really become entrepreneurs in this industry, to really kind of take a passion and make it their full-time job. But I mean, time is so valuable to everyone, right? Time is, the most important currency that everyone is short of. And so, tools that can really save people time are incredibly valuable tools in this day and age. So, we keep hearing, and if you look at our website, I think some of the quotes are up there, but things used to take days, now take minutes with Mascot, right? Things like that are really valuable testimonials, but they're true. If you invest a little bit of time just to understand how the software works, the amount of time that you can save as a result of utilizing it is tremendous.
Nice.
Everyone who is interested in that can just sign up on the website, right? It's with Mascot.
Free to sign up with mascot.com. And then on our socials, if you look at our socials too, there's plenty of links as to where to go. But we're at with Mascot on all social media channels.
Yes, we put everything in the show notes too, guys. So if you wanna find them, it's easy to access. There's a free demo option on it, or how does it work?
Yep, we offer we have a monthly group demo, which happens I think the third Tuesday of every month. And then we also offer a free one-to-one demo. What we found is, sometimes those demos actually lead to the best suggestions for us because we know exactly, there's more time for people to tell us exactly what they're looking for and, what pain points they have. And then some people, as opposed to taking kind of a one-to-one, just kind of prefer, kind of a, sort of a more formal group demo. So two different options for you. But if you go to our website, at the top of the website, you'll see a link for a one-to-one demo and then a link to a group demo as well.
Is there some, if you can talk about that, any futures planned where you can talk about that? It's coming in the next month, year, whatever, week?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a long list. Our roadmap is aggressive. I would say so much so that it definitely gives me, a bit of anxiety, but also, kind of excitement. Certainly, yeah. I mean, I think we're going to see from us, is really just kind of continuing doing what we're doing, right? I mean, I think we all believe that. Yes, we definitely touched the nerve. We see people who are really powering their entire business on Mascot, but we still think there's so many other ways that we can go deeper here. And so I think you're going to see us really just kind of taking the basic concept of saving time, kind of streamlining a lot of these processes that just take an unnecessary amount of time, and just making them a lot easier. So some are going to be on the sell side, others are going to be on the buy side, right? So people who are collectors, who are looking for certain things, okay, how do we make that easier? There's so many marketplaces, so many sales channels, so many different ways that people kind of showcase product to the market. How can we consolidate those into one? I think you'll see Mascot, and I can't really talk about it yet, but in some capacity also start to handle some of the transactional infrastructure here, some of which will support the trade shows, and some in other capacities as well. On the kind of enterprise side, if you will, right? I mean, again, we have over 100 hobby shops and businesses who are running their business kind of full time on Mascot Pro right now. We rolled out a pro model, for hobby shops and for major dealers. If you look at Fanatics's numbers just alone, there's over I think over 1,000 hobby shops, who have a direct relationship with Tops, right? And so we feel like our penetration there is still light compared to where we think it's going to be. Obviously, we've only had the pro model up for about 2-3 months, but we want the 10% to become 80%. Right? We think every hobby shop across the world should have our product because it makes their lives a lot easier. If you read some of the quotes from articles about what Fanatics is doing with hobby shops, what are they looking for, right? They're looking for hobby shops that not only look good physically when you go there, but they're looking for hobby shops that have digital inventory management softwares, that have point of sale systems, that can deliver data to Fanatics for allocation. They're looking for companies who are able to move product in different ways, whether that's breaking or multiple sales channels or what have you, right? So everything that Fanatics is really building towards, and I would say requiring of hobby businesses in this day and age, are tools that Mascot offers directly, right? So it's a bit of a bet that we're making on where the future is going, but we feel very confident, kind of based on the numbers that we see, the data we see, but also just the amount of people who have gravitated towards the software in a short period of time that we've really touched the nerve.
Yeah,
nice. I have a little different question. So every time we have entrepreneurs here and business people, we're asking them, so can you tell other entrepreneurs which mistakes to avoid if possible? I believe that of course you learn from mistakes and it's important to make them and to get up again. But is there anything where you would say, look, guys, if you avoid this, you will do yourself a big favor?
Yeah, I mean, I've made tons of mistakes. Our team has made tons of mistakes. Believe me, we make them every single day. I would say, what our keys so far, one is just, that, it's important to move fast, certainly. But I think, kind of that old quote about, how people who strive for perfection oftentimes don't even achieve good, right? So, we tend to just get products out into the market quickly. What you originally build, typically it's not your end product, it's kind of your first product. And so we typically kind of push features to the market fast, see how the market reacts to it, adapt to what people need from it, change certain things if it's a bit off the mark, right? So we're very much of the kind of the adage of just get it out there, right? Obviously, there has to be a minimum threshold where kind of getting a product into the market is doable, but like you don't have to wait until you feel like it's perfect to get it out in the market, right? Your customers, I mean, at least in our experience, your customers are the ones who really are going to tell you kind of what they want. You have to listen to them, but there's so much good feedback that you get from the market if you just if you put it out there, right? And so I would say that the number one thing is don't wait until you feel like it's perfect, right? Just get it out there, take feedback, listen to the feedback, and then kind of iterate on the feedback, because that to us has been valuable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's is a big note also for me. I'm a perfectionist, and it's very, very hard for me to do
And
this. Yeah.
and also, Marcus, I don't know if you agree, but we as Germans sometimes we discuss things and we see, okay, this might go wrong or that might go wrong, and then you
Yeah.
don't even start.
It's a
So I
bit
was living
clutchy.
in the US for a while, and then I really realized the difference between our way of thinking here and the US entrepreneur. Let's try it, let's get it done. If we fail, okay, we get up again. We
Mm.
Germans have that tendency to overthink certain
Mm.
things, and
Yeah,
then
that's
we
true.
don't start.
Yeah, I would also just add one other thing. I mean, I think this market, the collector market is a funny market. You
Hmm.
know, especially when you're building technology tools in the collector market. Collectors are not always the most technologically savvy. They're not always the most willing to adapt. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of people might have processes, even though they realize the processes are not great processes. They're just used to those processes, right? And so they just continue doing it again. And so, as much as what I said in the first thing is very true, which is just getting in the market and kind of iterating
Hmm.
feedback, it also does require a little patience because you could build a great tool, and we've had a couple examples of this where we built something and we just said, oh my god, the market is going to go gangbusters over this. They don't even know that they need it, but they need it. And so we were incredibly excited with some of the products that we built, and kind of the rollout or the reaction to it initially at first was a bit slow.
Okay.
And as opposed to saying, it's not working, we said, no, like it's going to work. Stay with it. Talk to a
Hmm.
lot of people, get in front of people, even if it means emailing them 12 times, stay after them, and that does work. So you need a combination of kind of being willing to kind of put yourself out there to build
Mm.
quickly, sort of have it in front of people quickly, but also the patience to just kind of sit with it for a little bit until the market realizes that they actually need it.
Mm.
And so, I think those are two things that are very important if you're building business within this industry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the collision of like an old, lo very emotional topic in their lives and technology. It sometimes can collide, but I think if you keep it simple, and you guys seem to keep it simple, that's the best way to approach it, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Respect,
Uh,
really. I love it.
what
Thank you.
is Ezra collecting as a collector?
Yeah, so I grew up in New York City, and so a lot of my collection happens to be based on athletes or things that are meaningful to me from my childhood in New York City. I also went to the University of Michigan for college. I have a big Michigan football
Okay.
collection as well. So it ranges from trading cards to I actually have a lot of graded ticket stubs of kind of famous games of in the history of the Yankees, history of Michigan football. I dabble a little bit in kind of game worn memorabilia. Also dabble a little bit in Type 1 photographs, which I think is just a really cool, fascinating market. If even if the secondary market sometimes is not there, that there's really cool pieces just to have up in an office space. So yeah, I would say it's a combination of things that are New York related from my childhood, some vintage stuff, the teams that I supported and still support to this day, and a big Michigan football collection.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's baseball and football, or is
Baseball,
basketball?
basketball, football primarily, with a
Okay.
little bit of hockey sprinkled in there.
Okay.
Okay. So okay.
And
And
what was a good season for in New York for basketball, and hockey was quite good, I would say.
Yeah, in basketball, I'm a tormented Knicks fan. We've been loving and supporting the Knicks my entire life. We've been just beyond atrocious for a long time, but for the first time in a long time, there's some hope and optimism around the Knicks. So when the Knicks are even remotely decent, the city is just on fire because we're so desperate for sort of a good Knicks team here in New York.
Uh,
how much do you guys love Jalen Brunson?
He is the king of New York right now. He is the
Yes,
king
right?
of New York. Absolutely the king of New York. But we've never had, I mean, I shouldn't say never, but for a very long time, since I've been alive, which is almost 37 years now, the Knicks have never had a good point guard. Never
Yes.
had a good point guard. We've been looking, especially the last 10 to 15 years, I think we've gone through 30 point guards in the last 10 to 15 years. And then Brunson steps in, and he has just been unbelievable. And then over the last week, I don't know if you guys saw this news, but he signed a very team
Lakers.
friendly deal,
Yes.
an extension of his contract, which will allow the Knicks to, kind of build out a team using the money that they saved with Bronson. So he can do no wrong here in New York. If he ran for mayor of New York City, he'd win in a landslide right now.
Yep. Yeah, nice. Congratulations on that guy.
Yeah. He's I can take zero credit for, but I will gladly take credit for it.
Doesn't matter for sports fans. They take credit for everything anyway. Just take it.
I will take all the credit. It was my idea. It was my idea, of course.
I think we put this as a headline on the podcast, like Ezra brought Jalen to New York City.
Yes, exactly.
That's great. It's good clickbait, certainly.
But where are you now? When you say it's a child who was in New York, where you're sitting now?
No, it's my mother-in-law's birthday, and so we're actually we're about 3 hours away from New York right now. But I'm typically in New York City. We just happen to be away from my mother-in-law's birthday.
Okay. Happy birthday!
Congratulations!
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm still working. I'm still working through it, but we are not in New York City right now.
Okay.
Nice, man. That's wonderful.
We have a category. Oh, sorry, Dennis. I don't want to.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, we have a category which it's in the end of the podcast, which is called. I think we defined the name. I got 5 on it, or yeah, we said 5.
For our international guest, it's I got 5 on it. For Germans, it's 5 gewinnt. So, but you cannot
5 wins.
You can.
Exactly. There's 5 questions, and the first one is you have already a tip from a business perspective, told us, but do you have a tip also for collecting perspective for the guys out there as a collector?
Yeah, I mean, not to be so trite, because I'm sure everyone says this, but I think the adage is true that, like, yes, I mean, you could definitely collect or deal to make money, but if you're not in it full time as as kind of a professional, I mean, I do think the adage of you should collect what you love is true, because I've bought a lot of things that have done nothing in terms of pricing, or I've even gone down in terms of pricing. But if you're happy with it, you're happy with it, right? It's the other is like, I mean, I think you have to kind of realize what you are and who you're trying to be in this industry. Are you trying to make money? Are you trying to be a dealer? Are you trying to be a flipper? Are you a repacker? Are you a breaker? Like what is your role? Are you just a collector? Because I think that the strategies or the advice you would give are completely different. If you're asking me, hey, I'm a hobby shop starting in 2024, what do I need? Well, I think just check out MASCOT, right? Because the tools that we're building, and again, I don't mean to give a plug, but I think it's true. You see, kind of a real segregation of the hobby shops and the dealers who are understanding where this market is going, understanding the need for an inventory management solution, understanding the need for a digital storefront, understanding the need, for a POS system, understanding the need to be on multiple platforms and to sell in creative ways. I mean, all these things are really very important. So if you're a collector, you should collect what you love. Obviously, you should be smart about it. If you're a dealer, if you're a hobby shop, you're doing this professionally, my number one tip is to check out MASCOT.
Smart. That would be my number one tip too. So is there one piece in your collection that's your favorite piece that's very close to your heart?
Yeah, I probably have 2 of them that come to mind. One is Michigan football related, and the other is actually not basketball, even though I was trying to think of a Knicks item, but it's not basketball, and it's not even baseball. It's actually hockey. So I'll give you both. They both happen to be tickets. When I was 7 years old, my dad took me to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, where the Rangers beat the Vancouver Canucks. And so I actually have that ticket stub, and I wound up getting it signed by Brian Leetch, who played for the New York Rangers. He happened to be the MVP of that series. And so he signed it, inscribed it, Brian Leetch, Game 7. And then I think he also signed an NHL Finals MVP. He turned out he was the first American-born Stanley Cup MVP of all time, which to me, I was very, very surprised when I found that out. So anyway, so I would say my Brian Leetch ticket. And the second is, I went to college at the University of Michigan, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a huge school in Michigan, renowned for their football program. The largest football stadium in the country. It's called the Big House. Very historic. You go in there, it feels, it was built in 1927. It feels like it was built in 1927, which is very cool. So I have a ticket stub to the day that they essentially brought that stadium to life. It was a game against Ohio State, our biggest rivals. It was the day where they really, kind of honored that stadium. It became the big house on that very afternoon. There's only 11 of them in circulation, and I think mine is the second highest graded of all of them. So a very cool ticket stub.
Nice. One is connected. One question is what the I don't know the English word, the nicest experience and the baddest experience in your hobby episode. Is there one? If there's one, I think nicest. There's a lot.
A card got stolen or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, just on the cards gotten stolen for, I'll just give another quick plug for MASCOT. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but recently here in the States, about 2 years ago, there was a big theft of a bunch of graded cards at the Dallas Card Show. The dealer who had their items stolen is a friend of ours, and so we actually heard this news directly, but then we built a tool within MASCOT where if you've had graded slabs stolen from you, you can let us know. You can provide the serial numbers of the cards that were stolen, and we'll enter them into our database. And we'll immediately alert you if those serial numbers have been uploaded into MASCOT or attempted to be resold on any of our integrated sales channels.
Okay.
Who knows if that's possible? If these thieves are actually looking to kind of build their inventory or sell it anywhere, but still, it was sort of our immediate response to the news. So if you have had stolen slabs, feel free to contact us, and we could at least kind of do our part to see if they've been uploaded to MASCOT. In terms of good or bad experiences, I would say I've been lucky. I've had a lot more good experiences than bad. I tend to kind of take the opposite side of the view. I mean, I think a lot of people look at social media and they think, this industry is in trouble. I think, just based on the people who I speak to and we interact with, I think this hobby's in really good shape. And I think for the most part, the people who I've dealt with are really good people. I would say my personal favorite experience, in my previous gig, I actually co-founded a live event as well. It was a trade show here in the States. And we actually, year one, we brought a whole host of athletes and celebrities to the show, one of whom was Peyton Manning. And so I was able to moderate a discussion with Peyton Manning and a couple other industry leaders at the time. And so that was a pretty cool experience for me.
Nice. Pretty good stories, my friend.
Last question, and it's very interesting because I think from you with your network also, what do you think where the hobby will look like in 5 years, roughly? So how it will be changed? Like today you said already, fanatics and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. I mean, I think for one, I mean I think if you look back 5 years to where we are today, there's so much more technology and there's so much more entrepreneurialism now than there ever was before, and so I expect that trend to continue. I think people, there's been a lot of kind of human capital and political capital, and which has really come into the space over the last couple of years, and so I expect there to be really talented people. We're going to come in and really build great tools, just kind of make the hobby easier. I mean, obviously, when you listen to fanatics, what they want to do, they want to grow the industry. They want to bring a lot more collectors into the market. I think that's a really great goal. I mean, I've always been kind of surprised, candidly, about kind of how small the industry of collectors is relative to the amount of people who identify as a sports fan, and not to say that sports collecting is the only form of collecting. Obviously, you can be whole host of stripes and be quote unquote a collector. But when it comes to sports collecting, people who collect trading cards, it's a very, very small percentage compared to the people who gamble on sports or who play fantasy sports, for instance. And so, I don't know if 10x or 5x or 100x, who knows, but I do think you're going to see more collectors come into the market by sheer virtue of there being kind of added exposure to it. And then again, not to plug MASCOT, but to plug MASCOT, of course, because that's my job. I do think you're going to see a lot more kind of hobby shops, dealers, really look to get their own essentially marketplace, right? Their own web presence where they're not as reliant on onerous marketplace fees. I think if you're someone who has a network, who has relationships, you go to trade shows like yours or the ones here in the States, using those trade shows as networking opportunities to build your network, to get, the right eyeballs, the right buyers, the right consigners, whatever it might be. you're able to, kind of build a much more profitable business, by at least taking your percentage of sales off marketplace and putting them kind of in your own network. That also allows you to get your own customer data and really just control your own destiny better. So I think that trend is definitely going to continue as well.
Yeah. Very nice.
Nice.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insight. It was very interesting. Also to know a bit more about who's behind MASCOT. Yeah, it's very nice too. We have put everything in the show notes.
Terrific.
Yeah.
All right, well, good. And yeah, final plug. So if you go to MASCOT, go to profile and then go to the trade show icon. If you go to the trade show icon, you'll see your show there. And so any vendors of yours who are listening, if you just sign up for MASCOT, signing up is free. Profile trade shows, you can create a little storefront. You can click for the German card show, enter your booth number, and then just add some inventory to MASCOT and tag it with MASCOT. If you also go to our YouTube channel, there's a couple demos on how to do it specifically, but it's easy to do. I promise.
Nice. Thank you so much. And before I forget, the German word for mascot is Maskottchen.
Maskottchen. I love it.
Maskottchen.
I love it. I'm in.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time.
It was fun. Thanks guys so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.